Welcome to this presentation on student-led IEPs. This presentation is brought to you by the Hope Family Support Network. Student-led IEPs are about a student being able to say, nothing about me without me. What is self-determination? That is knowing one's strengths, weaknesses, and preferences, being able to set personal goals, making plans and taking action to achieve goals, evaluating outcomes, and adjusting one's knowledge, goals, or plans accordingly. Student-led IEPs are about getting a student involved in their own education. They increase a student's responsibility and help a student take ownership for their own education. They also prepare students for the future and in being as independent as possible. What does a student-led IEP look like? Well, a student's participation may vary depending on the individuality of the student. For some students, it may be introducing the participants or presenting important information about themselves to the IEP team, presenting or preparing select pieces of information to the team, or even leading the entire IEP team meeting. We should think, what does the student want to do? What does he feel he needs in order to be successful? This is some of the types of information a student can share with their IEP team. Which students can participate? All students can participate in some way or another. We should permit a variety of communication styles: verbal, through assistive technology such as a communication device, maybe student-created presentations, utilizing picture prompts, or even use of video and audio, as in being pre-recorded. What are some ways a student can participate in their IEP meeting? Introducing themselves and others, presenting information to the team, telling the IEP team what is best for them, sharing their strengths and weaknesses, sharing what helps them or what works for them, preparing visual aids such as PowerPoints, audio, video, etc., helping to write or set their own transition goals, which are also a part of the IEP. What is the difference when the student leads their own IEP meeting? Well, the student-led IEP shifts the focus of an IEP meeting from adults talking about what a student cannot do to the student telling the IEP team what they can do, how they learn, their preferences, strengths, what helps their learning, and possible barriers. Research shows student-led IEPs increase satisfaction among all participants. Student-led IEPs can help the student develop a better understanding and awareness of their disability, their actual ability, the IEP process, self-determination skills, their rights under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as accommodations they need in order to be successful. Student-led IEPs can provide students with the opportunity to practice self-determination skills and self-advocacy skills. These are skills they will need throughout their lives that will assist them in being more independent. Student-led IEPs don't only benefit students. All participants can benefit. For teachers, it can help them to develop positive relationships with the student and parents, help them make sure the meeting is centered on the student's needs, and help them make the IEP process make sense to everyone involved. It's not just paperwork anymore. As for parents, it increases their parent involvement and their voice. It improves their communication with teachers and helps their youth become more self-determined and creates more positive interaction with school personnel. Student-led IEPs can also increase graduation rates, decrease dropout rates, and decrease inappropriate behavior. But you know what? Change can be hard, and there is some work required. Teachers must have preparation time and a place to present lessons to students. This may require direct instruction in disability awareness, self-determination, legal jargon and information, and confidentiality. How do we start? Well, when we're working with youth, we could review parts of the IEP with students, determine the level of participation for the student, begin writing chosen pieces, creating presentations. The student may have to type or dictate, but use the actual document. Break it up into smaller assignments. Highlight the areas for the student that they will present and let the student have input. But remember, for the student, it should be nothing about me without me. Some conversations we would have with the student would include talking about the impact the student's disability has on the student's functioning. More importantly, what the student's strengths are. This will increase the student's disability awareness and ability awareness. Then, talking to the student about how the meeting works. How long will the IEP meeting be? Who will be there? And then helping the student set an agenda. And then talking to the student about the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which is the law that applies to that student before graduation, and for after graduation, the Americans with Disabilities Act. There are lots of different ways we can support the student in this process. Just a few might be talking to the student about breathing techniques, deep breaths, focusing on the breath coming in and out, or giving the student opportunities to practice presenting to the IEP team. Even doing mock IEP meetings can be helpful, discussing what good listening skills are with a student, and discussing the difference between assertiveness and aggression. There are lots of ways we can help the student prepare for an IEP meeting. Creating a seating chart, establishing prompts for the student, creating a backup plan, certainly providing encouragement, letting the student know they can do this, giving the student positive feedback and praise, encouraging thank you notes from the student to team members after the meeting, and then debriefing after the meeting, asking the student how they felt the meeting went and what they would like to change next time. The outcomes are so exciting. Self-determination and self-advocacy are byproducts of student-led IEPs and substantially engage not only students but parents and teachers as well. Students using this process knew more about their disabilities, their legal rights, and appropriate accommodations than students without disabilities. The research also shows that students increase their self-confidence and their ability to advocate for themselves. All of this helps them to live as independently as possible. Thank you for participating in this workshop. If you have more questions or need help, please visit our website at www.fsnhope.org. Also, please keep in mind that the contents of this presentation were developed under a grant from the U.S. Department of Education. However, those contents do not necessarily represent the policy of the U.S. Department of Education, and you should not assume endorsement by the federal government.